This is the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
We'll call this Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting to order, and it's Tuesday, December 15th. We are in lower level room 42, and it is just a bit after 9 a.m. Due to COVID-19, this meeting is conducted under Waupaca County Resolution Number 8, 2020-2021, and Governor Evert's Emergency Order Number 1. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Here.
Boyer. Here. Craig, Mary.
Here.
Craig, Patricia.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Fedowitz.
Here.
Golding.
Here.
Hardy.
Here.
Yeager.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Keppen.
Here.
Kussman.
Here.
Lear.
Here.
McClone.
Here.
Morak.
Here.
Muck.
Here.
Murphy, Gerald.
Here.
Murphy, Terry.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
Nygaard.
Here.
Holman. Here. Ritchie.
Here.
Rowan.
Here.
Spearings.
Here.
Wengelski.
Here.
Will.
Here.
Zog.
Here.
All members are present, sir.
Thank you. This meeting and all other meetings of this committee, this board, are open to the public according and advertised according to state statutes. Please stand for solemnization of the pledge.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we have the agenda before sent to us and we reviewed it. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Motion by Mr. Dog, a second by Supervisor Laird. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion is carried. The agenda is approved. Likewise, the minutes of the 11th, November 10th, 2020 are before you. Motion by Mr. Spearing, and a second by Mr. Morak. Any questions regarding that? All in favor of that motion say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion
As it
carried.
has a Christmas card,
And the minutes are approved.
you can shut it off.
Pardon?
I think that was someone giving instructions to a Zoom person.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have resolutions before us, number 7. Resolution A, resolution number 27, 2020-21. It's a comp plan amendment. Alan, this morning?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this comprehensive plan amendment, or this resolution, is really actually doing 4 things. So in the town of Caledonia, we're changing those 3 lots from a commercial planning district to a residential planning district to be able to create those lots. Okay, in the town of Lebanon, this lot here is going from an residential district to an agricultural district. It's a larger lot. They see it as being more agricultural in use, and they're looking at future animal husbandry. In the town of Lynn, this property here is going from commercial planning district to a residential planning district. The reason for that is they're looking to get all those districts or all those lots in the same zoning district so that they can reconfigure them. And finally, in the town of Royalton, this property is going from a commercial planning district to a commercial planning district. It's an existing auction business and they're bringing themselves into compliance.
Mr. Christman? Motion by Mr. Christman to approve. And by Mr. Fedowitz. Questions or discussion?
Ryan, when I look at the town of Caledonia as an example.
Yep.
Is this part of what Royalton experienced? In other words, we projected ahead what we thought it would be? Or was there really commercial on this property that is no longer there?
No, they were just projecting ahead. There really was no commercial out there. The reason for that is that's sitting right on the intersection. If you look on the eastern side, it's by Highway 45. The owner of that property was looking to put a commercial business out there. So he was working with the town to try to make that commercially developed. He's had no takers for that. So he thought in the meantime, he's had some people approach him to put some lots out there. So he thought, well, at least I'll create a couple lots on the far western edge and still allow myself some ability on the eastern side for some commercial development.
Thank you.
You got it.
Other questions? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried.
Aye.
Now some good news too. Resolution number 2020-21, donation acceptance, DHHS.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors accepts the Community Foundation of the Fox Valley Region Waupaca County Nutrition Program donation in the amount of $4,000.
A motion by Supervisor Lair for approval, and a second by Mr. Wengelski. We have any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, motion is carried. Resolution number 31. 2020-21.
Sorry. Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors accepts the Premier Community Bank Waupaca County Nutrition Program donation of the amount of $5,000.
Motion by Mr. Gerald Murphy, and a second by Mr. Terry Murphy.
I just got a few goodies here for you. Okay. Thank you.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried.
Aye.
Resolution number 32, 2020-21. Donation acceptance, Sheriff's Department.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors accepts the donation from Pumpkin Time at Miller's in the amount of $3,250 and then donation from Walleyes for Kids Incorporated in the amount of $1,000 for the Sheriff's Office Shop with a Cop.
Craig moves to approve.
There's a motion by Supervisor Craig for approval, and a second by Vice Chair Mary Kay Coleman. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
Aye.
Resolution number 33, 2020-21. Donation acceptance for the Sheriff's Office.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get it on the screen as well. Now therefore be it resolved that Waupaca County Board of Supervisors accepts the $2,000 from Peterson Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for the Sheriff's Office.
So motion by Mr. Vasquez, and a second by Mr. Nygaard. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Resolution number 34, 2020-21. Another donation acceptance for the Sheriff's Office.
Now therefore be it resolved, the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors accepts $5,000 from the Little Black Dog Design LLC doing business as Chain of Link for Sheriff's Office K-9 unit.
A motion by Supervisor Lair and a second by Mr. Vasquez. Any questions or discussion? Suggest you go out and buy some of these little doggies.
Yeah.
I did, I bought 3, so they're cute. They don't even bark or anything. So. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried.
Aye.
Resolution number 35, 2020-21, donation acceptance for the DHHS.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors accepts the Redistricting SOW Foundation Corporate Waupaca County DHHS donation in the amount of $6,000.
Craig moves to approve.
Supervisor Craig made motion to approve and a second by Supervisor Laird. Any questions or discussion? Is this the former Packer receiver?
Yes.
Involved? Very nice. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Resolution number 36, 2020-21, support of increased child support funding.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors respectfully request the state funding for county child support agencies be increased by 4 million GPRs in each fiscal year of the 2021 through 2023 Wisconsin state budget, which will generate approximately 7.7 million in additional federal funding each year to ensure the efficient, effective delivery of program services to Wisconsin families. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Waupaca County, by the Waupaca County Clerk to the Governor of the State of Wisconsin, Waupaca County State Senators and Representatives, the Secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Administration, and the Wisconsin Counties Association for consideration.
Is there a motion for approval? A motion by Mr. Darrell Murphy and a second by Supervisor Laird. Discussion?
Question?
Questions? Supervisor Craig.
It says whereas we dropped from a ranking of 2nd to 5th for collecting. What happened? Do we know?
What happened?
We don't know.
I don't think there's been an analysis of the cause and effect, but obviously, where all programs statewide are sufficiently funded, the goal is to have increased collections and increased enforcement and increased establishment. So we talked about, in August, I talked about those performance measurements, and that was our collection measurement. We were 2nd in collections, and we went down to 5th in, nationwide. So, and Pennsylvania is always #1, and nobody knows what Pennsylvania does so well. So we're all trying to emulate Pennsylvania.
But for our county, we're doing just fine.
For our county, we're doing just fine. Yes, and there is a clause in there regarding possible reduction of funding. As a county, I'm not looking at any sort of changes to my staffing levels. So we've been adequately funded within the county. We're just fine. But this is a statewide push for each county to approach the governor with a similar resolution.
Thank you.
Any other questions while Diane's up there? Yes, not. Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
We have our motion and second. I just need the call.
Yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion is carried. Resolution number 37, 2020-21, marriage license fee increase.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors does hereby authorize the Waupaca County Clerk to increase the existing fee from $80 to $100 effective January 1st, 2021.
There's a motion by Mr. Johnson for approval. Second by Mr. Moore. Any questions or discussion? It's been a while, Diane, since we've increased, right?
Yes, the last time that we increased, that's okay.
Yeah.
I have 5 siblings. I answer to anything. 2009 was the last time we increased.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Resolution number 39, Clerk of Courts Office Staff Reorganization.
Now therefore, let it be resolved, that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors does hereby approve the replacement of 1 court clerk position to 1 deputy clerk position effective January 4th, 2021.
It's a motion by Mr. Todd for approval and a second by Mr. Terry Murphy. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution number 40, 2020-21, Land and Water Watershed Technician position.
Now therefore, let it be resolved, the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors does hereby approve the new watershed technician position in the Land and Water Conservation Department.
Motion by Mr. McClone, second by Mr. Johnson. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution number 41, 2020-21, official lake name change.
Now therefore, be it resolved, the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors does go on record to support assigning the name Chalet Lake, Town of Lynn. Be it further resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors authorizes the Waupaca County Clerk to complete the geographic name proposal recommendation form as approved and submit to the State of Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources Geographic Name Council.
There's a motion by Ms. Supervisor Golding, a second by Mr. Frederick. Any questions or discussion? Yes, Patricia.
There are many unnamed lakes all over the county. So this one says Town of Lynn. Do we have a map that shows us where it's at?
Yeah, it was inside in the packet of materials.
Right.
Thought maybe it didn't get in this packet, and I apologize. I can pull it up in the packet.
You want Jill to run up and get it? No.
I can
Pull it up on the computer.
I can pull it up in yesterday's legislative packet. I apologize that it didn't get in this packet.
There's more information than you need about this lake.
I
About 12 different documents.
did talk to the different department heads too to make sure no one had any problem with that. GIS said that they had already had it. They had it named as this on because it was part of a subdivision as well. So pull this up for you. That's not a very good map. Bailey Lake is here and Chalet Lake is here. Oops, I need to share this, don't I? Sorry. Okay, so this is Bailey Lake in the town of Lynn, and then this is where that unnamed lake is, Chalet Lake is, and there's an association that thought it was already named that, and that's why they went to the DNR to have it named, and that's where the request initially came from.
What section is it in?
Ooh,
You have an idea of where.
19 T21 NR12E. So 19.
Yeah, it's section 19. That's good enough. The
Okay.
rest of it just describes. Thank you. I was just interested because when we did the shoreline zoning ordinance and the committee way back when went through all the different water bodies in our county, there are a lot of them. So I thought, not knowing where this one is would help me to understand, and I can look it up now on the platform.
And I apologize, that wasn't part of the packet. That was my mistake.
Sure.
It was in LGIS yesterday, but I forgot it in this one.
Okay.
My apologies.
I don't have a problem with it. I just want to know where.
And this could be in a plus, we could say county to so many others.
Another name to it.
So we have our motion and our
Yeah.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Ordinances. A, 2020-715, amendment to County Chapter 34, petition number Z-024-20, Town of Caledonia, the Spring Pines of Caledonia for a zoning map amendment from RC-G district to RR district on approximately 6 acres.
So this is just a companion that we had earlier this morning of the comp plan. So we've just changed that to residential. This is just the zone map amendment taking it to actually to rural residential.
Motion by Mr. Nygaard and a second by Mr. Vasquez. Discussion. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's accepted. B, 2020-716, amendment to chapter 34, petition number Z-025-20. Town of Lebanon, Brian J.R. and Holly H. Pingle for a zoning map amendment to the RR district to AWT district on approximately 9.69 acres.
So this is the rezone here to take this to the egg woodland transition. Again, it's a larger lot, just shy of 10 acres. They're looking to have some animal husbandry out there.
A motion by Mr. Christman for approval. Second by Mr. Nygaard. Discussion or questions?
Question
Yes.
for Diane. As the Board of Chair of Adjustment, and they're coming to us for a different matter, would I abstain from this vote, or is it okay to vote on this issue where it's just a zoning change?
It's either, it's personal to you, so if you're not comfortable as the board chair, I don't think it's an ethical issue for you to vote on.
Okay, thank you.
But
I'm
if you feel
abstaining.
uncomfortable, then you should
Yeah,
abstain.
I'll abstain.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried.
I abstained.
Abstain, yes, what you C, 2020-717, amendment to chapter 34, petition number Z-026-20, Town of Royalton, Ted W. and Linda J. Radke for a zoning map amendment from RI-G district to an RC-G district on approximately 2.66 acres.
Craig moves to approve.
There's a motion by Supervisor Craig to approve, and a second by Mr. Spearings. Is there any question or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. D, 2020-718, amendment to chapter 34, petition number Z-27-20, Town of Lynn, Jeffrey L. Larson for zoning map amendment from AR district to RR-0 district on approximately 4 acres.
So what Mr. Larson is looking at doing here is that he's creating a couple of lots. The lot that's to the north already has some structures on it, and the lot to the south is empty. And the thought is that he's looking to have potentially a family member build on it. And you'll notice that it's a rural residential or overlay. This is within farm preservation. So he is using 2 development rights to create the 4 acres worth of lots.
There's a motion by Mr. Johnson for approval, and a second by Vice Chair Mary Kate Holman. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. E, 2020-719, amendment to chapter 34, petition number Z-028-20, Town of Lynn, Richard Golke for a zoning map amendment from AW district to RR district on approximately 15.08 acres.
Again, this is the, they're looking to rezone these. We just changed these to residential, so that what he's doing, he's looking to reconfigure these lots. You can see, it's in these lots here, but it also includes this lot up to the north. So he's gonna be looking to do, he also owns all these lots here. So he's looking at doing is potentially reconfiguring all those. Coincidentally, Supervisor Craig, you had the question from prior to Chalet Lake. This is Chalet Lake right here. So here's County E, Gooseneck, McLean, Bass, Bailey, and then Chalet. Right here. It's right in the same area like where Spencer Lake is.
You couldn't have saved me last time.
All right, I knew this was coming.
Okay, is there a motion for approval? Motion by Mr. Zod. And a second by Mr. Nygaard. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Reports. Mr. Wolf is here this morning to give us a COVID update.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think it's been a little while since we had I gave an update on COVID-19 to this group, so a lot of things have kind of happened and changed. I think as of today, I think I've got a little bit of good news to share. So that's kind of good to be here with you this morning to kind of share that. So I'll just start with a snapshot of the state results of where we are. I took this last night. Just an overview of where we're at with the state. So over close to 440,000 positive cases within the state. You just notice the number in parentheses, 2,122. That's how many new cases there were yesterday. That number has gone down significantly. A few weeks ago, we were 6,000 or 7,000 a day, and there were a few week stretches where the average was in the 6,000. So that's some good news just to see in that trend. But I mean, that's a big number overall for the state for positives. And they also have the recovery status deaths. We're over 4,000 deaths in the state that are related to COVID. Hospitalizations too. That number in our area has gone down as well. So the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I'll get into it a little bit more as we go through the update, has trended in the direction that we'd like to see it to go. So to the next slide, this is just a snapshot of our dashboard, kind of where we are as a county. So as of yesterday, we're approaching 4,000 positive confirmed cases. Also, to the number below are probable cases. If you want to include those, probable cases are, the majority of those are people that have tested positive with an antigen test. Right now, the rapid tests are considered a confirmed test, but if someone's symptomatic and they get tested with an antigen test, those are pretty reliable. So we want to include that number too. So we're over 4,000 positive cases in the county. The other number I want to highlight here is active, 196 right now. At our peak, probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were close to 600 active cases at one period. So that again, it's good to see that number continue to decline, and we haven't been below 200 in months. We also have recovered cases, negative cases, so we're getting close to, we're approaching 20,000 negative cases, and then deaths. A little bit on deaths, so we're at 130. And I get a lot of questions about deaths and the number. So that includes, the county health department does not stipulate what a COVID death is. There's a definition by the CDC, and medical providers or the medical examiner will certify a death as related to COVID-19. We just get the number reported to us. We wait till the medical examiner verifies all the deaths before we even put that number up there. So those are all certified by the medical examiner. They all have COVID on their death certificate. So we've had 130. That includes ones that are linked as a primary cause of death of COVID or like a secondary. So that's confirmed improbable is 130. You can find a breakdown of those numbers on the state website. A little bit more on that's just, because I do get a lot of questions on those. So the age range that we've had on our 130 deaths have been between 25 and 102. Average age is 81. And of the 130, 120 have been 65 years old. So it kind of breaks down that number a little bit. This next slide is I kind of put together a timeline, and this is from March, and below are all of our cases, a daily number of cases, and then the line above is the what is it again? It's hard to read, but that's probably our active number, along with like I said, the daily new cases. And I'll put a few significant things on here. So March 17th, that was the first case that we had in Waupaca County. That first case actually ended up being also our first fatality from COVID, which was, I think I have that in there, the 27th. So first case in Waupaca County became the first fatality in Waupaca County as well. Also on the 17th, that's when the county did the emergency declaration. So we made a declaration of emergency to be able to do a few things to respond to the pandemic. The 24th of March is when the state did a Safer at Home Act. Locally here, we did a few things too. Again, this was the beginning of the pandemic. A lot of unknowns. Trying to do everything we can to prepare, for a novel virus and respond to a novel virus. So the county, we issued on the 27th, we issued a travel advisory, and that was just advising folks that maybe had a second home here in the county, that if you do come to your second home, we'd like you to quarantine for 2 weeks, just so we're not contributing to the spread of folks coming in from other areas into our county. Moving on to the April, so we had an order to ask campgrounds to delay their opening. That was an effort to help with gatherings, basically. And most of the campgrounds were all in favor of it. And they kind of I think it helped them out as far as when to open, not when to open. And it still wasn't a busy season for campgrounds, but again, that was an effort to try to limit gatherings again in the county, because we get a lot of people coming to a lot of those campgrounds. And that was a 30-day order. Safer at Home ended. I didn't have the date on there, but it ended in April, or actually May. And then we followed up with a mass gathering order. I think the first one was a maximum of 50. Again, just trying to keep those gatherings so we didn't have super spreader events going on. That was 30 days. I think we extended it another 15 or 30 days as well. And then eventually, as we kind of went through the summer, all those kind of orders kind of relaxed. There's a few blips in the middle of summer. You can see one kind of in July there, a little bit after 4th of July. I think we saw a little bump in cases. And then it kind of steadily progressed through the summer. And then I have the last week of September, cases began to spike. And I think that really coincided with basically college opening up. If you remember when the universities opened, we saw a really large influx of cases of 20-year-olds. And that was across the state, that was across the country. Everybody kind of saw the 20-year-olds be the leading age group. And we saw right here in the county for a month, we had 20-year-olds with the highest age group for cases, which is interesting because we don't have a really high population of 20-year-olds. But what that kind of did is it kind of, I think, started things. And when we got to end of September, and I'll have a few other graphs that kind of show this a little bit more, that's when we really experienced that large surge that we just went through. Starting in September, all the way through October, and into most of November, where we're experiencing cases that was extremely hard for us to keep up on from the health department side, just doing our disease investigation. We actually had to stop doing the contact tracing where we would contacts to positive cases and just prioritize individuals that were positive. And when we talk about we're getting close to 4,000 confirmed cases, every one of those individuals we contact, go over, care procedures, and any questions they might have, go over their isolation, go over their contacts, and gather a bunch of information as well. So, and ultimately, each case probably takes combined about an hour. So when we got into the surge and we were averaging 50 cases a day, that was a lot of people every day to contact, and it was just as you can see where it kind of spiked. It was a steady surge for 7 straight weeks of that, which was really remarkable how many people were infected. And those are the ones that we know of. These are folks that got tested. As we know, with COVID, the asymptomatic spread happens a lot. Estimated around 40% of people might asymptomatically spread COVID. So there's probably been a lot more that maybe didn't get tested, just never even knew they were sick and they were infected. So these are the numbers that we know. And I do have a highlight there too. So at one point we were near 600 active cases, 50 cases a day. In a 2-week stretch, we were averaging 2.5 to almost 3 deaths per day. That was in the county. And all the counties in our area were going through the same thing. Fox Valley kind of went through the surge first, and then we started seeing the western part of the state, northern part of the state, and then the southern part of the state kind of wants to have a second wave there. But as you can see now, we've dropped considerably. As of today, maybe you can go to then last Friday, the approval of the first vaccine. Next slide. This is another kind of graph that shows just the spike in the surge that we experienced. Brazil has at the very top, that was close to 600 active cases. This is that line, or is the level of active cases. Green are our recovered cases in a single day, and red are positive cases in a single day. And then the line graph is the amount of active cases. So, like I said, we were averaging, we would have 50, 100 for quite a period. And then at the peak of the spike, we were up to 600 active cases in a single day. And you can see now how much it's dropped. Now we're down close to 200. So hopefully we continue trending in this area. It's been three plus weeks now that we have started seeing declines in cases. So very, very optimistic, cautiously optimistic that we definitely come out of this wave or surge. We're hoping that it continues to go in that direction. This is a graph from MMWR report that Dr. Westergaard, the state medical advisor, state medical director, also shared with us, and it kind of showed that spike. And if you see the red line is the school, college, university. That's kind of what I was talking about with the 20-year-olds, where you just saw that age group kind of spike. Go to the next slide.
What did LTCF stand for?
Long-term care.
Long-term care.
Oh, long-term care.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
This is another slide from MMWR report, and also Dr. Westergaard provided an update on this. So this is kind of a case study. This is kind of giving an idea of what we've been dealing with, and it just talks about just how contagious this virus has been. So this summer in Wisconsin, there was an overnight summer school retreat, and what they tried to do, they wanted to have the retreat. And so they asked everybody ahead of time. They did everything they tried to do to prepare for having a summer camp in the middle of COVID going on. So they had everybody quarantined ahead of time. They had everybody test ahead of time, and everybody tested negative before they arrived. However, remember, testing is just a snapshot of time. And so on day one, a single student arrived. All of a sudden, started becoming symptomatic. And eventually there were spreads throughout the camp. And by the end of the camp, in a handful of days, 76% of people at that camp became infected. That's students and staff. And that's a camp of a few hundred. So it just kind of shows you just how fast and how pervasive the virus can spread. So the camp did eventually close down. They sent students home. Although they had the students finish their quarantine before they went home to help slow the spread. But just an example of kind of what we've been dealing with the virus. And this is a kind of another example too here. Household infections are really, a case where you really have that high level of spread too. Obviously, you're in the same home, spend a lot of time together. 51% of household members become infected within 1 week, and that 75% of infections occurred within 5 days of the first exposure. So basically, if someone in the household has COVID, there's a pretty high likelihood that other folks in the household will get it as well. I added this just to kind of talk about how it affects different people. This was just last week. The Packers rookie A.J. Dillon. He was, I think, the first player of the Packers to test positive. And this is a rookie, 22 years old, and he was out for 4 or 5 weeks. And he just kind of mentioned, I'll be the poster boy as far as no joke. I think he was really sick. So just kind of an example that, thankfully most people, do recover. A lot of people have very mild to no symptoms, but in a lot of cases, it's certainly still affects a lot of people. A.J. Dillon's an example of that. This is just another graph of our cases, and this is by week. I think I just wanted to highlight how it quickly inclined, and we had that surge, and then where we've seen the decline now in the last 4 weeks. This last week, only 105 confirmed cases. So, like I said, we're trending in the right direction. Hopefully, this is some kind of light coming through here, and we're getting closer to seeing the other side of this. So one more. This is the burden level that the state has on their website, and it kind of measures case activity level. For several weeks, that entire state was colored red as critically high. The last few weeks, the county has dropped down to what's considered very high. And you can see our trajectory is actually minus 28%, so we're continuing to fall. So really good news on that level. I think we need to definitely get through December, get through these next few winter months, and I think we'll be getting closer to like I said, coming out on the other side of this. So if you want to go to the next slide. Oh, just an update too, some of the factors I think that maybe have contributed to the cases starting to go down. I think the last few months we had a lot more testing available for everybody and in our area. So we were able to get the National Guard to come weekly in some squads every Wednesday. So we had 10 specimen collection dates in October, November, and in December. Oh, well, 2 of those, I'm sorry, one was in May and one was in September. But then we had the weekly sites starting in October, and over 1,500 tests have been performed by the National Guard, or collected by the National Guard over those last 8 weeks. That did get extended, so we'll still be doing every Wednesday in March. But like I was saying too, I think the fact that we've been able to have the National Guard here Wednesdays, our healthcare providers have got much more increased testing available in our area. The Data Care was able to get some federal testing, so testing supplies, so they've been able to do mobile sites. They've been running the back and Clintonville with some mobile sites. So the more testing we have available, it's just easier for people to get tested, and people can isolate faster. I think we've continued to do contact people with contact tracing. I think that's contributed to helping slow things down. And I think now we're kind of getting to the point too where there's a certain amount of the population too that's been affected as so I think that's contributing as well to that the decline that we've seen in cases. But that certainly doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. I mean, we still got to practice all the things that we've been doing. Can't just stop social distancing that for anybody. So I want to emphasize that we have to continue to do that while the vaccine starts distribution. And as of yesterday, we started getting vaccinations distributed, and I think even in Wisconsin, we had some people receive the vaccine. So just a couple things on the vaccine too. Now that's FDA approved for emergency authorization for approval. And if it goes through that process, it's the same process that all vaccines go through. You know, a few things that they were able to do at the same time that normally they spread out, but they still did all the trials. They did 30,000 person trial for one of them, a 40,000 person trial for another, and it received the FDA. If it wasn't safe, it went to receive the FDA approval. So just want to reassure that it's safe. If you're looking for information on the vaccine, make sure you go to the CDC, FDA, the Department of Health. Those are the places you want to make sure you get information on the vaccine. For our part too, we've applied to be an administrator. The health department has. So once we get our approval, we'll be able to provide vaccine. Maybe even to some of the group, the 1A group. So potentially some, like the EMS or fire are looking for the vaccine, and we'll be able to do that. Eventually, as more vaccine becomes available, we'll probably have some availability to do some mass vaccine distribution. So we did some, and we've done some practice rounds with a drive-through clinic for flu this last month. So potentially we can do a drive-through when there's enough vaccine available. We weren't able to get all together. I was going to kind of throw all the hours that we put into this since March, but I can tell you it's an extraordinary amount of time that we put into our response. And I just listed all of our folks. The first group of folks on the left is all of our full-time public health. They've all contributed, and a group of our core team, basically it's been their lives for 9 or 10 months now. It's all day, every day. The next group are all the LTEs and contract staff that we've hired to help us with this. And I just wanted to also point out a few folks too that basically almost every day we work with. Andy from emergency management, been right there along our sides the whole way. Jason from GIS, the dashboard that we have, he's put that together and works on that every single day. Diane, always working with her and needed her help navigating through everything we've gone through. And then Kathy, our middle school there has been extremely helpful as we kind of navigated the deaths that have happened with the virus. So I think that's pretty much what I have. And if anybody has any questions, I can get some questions.
Mr. Morris?
Do you get tested for antibodies?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you do that?
You can get tested. I would talk to your healthcare provider. Otherwise, if you donate blood or plasma, I think you can get it for free through that way.
Vasquez?
Do you have any idea how the hospitals are doing in the area? How stressed they're doing?
So they certainly got pushed to a limit when we talked about that 7-week stretch where they were running out of the room. They were running out of folks, staff to be able to care for folks. They have also started now seeing a decline in hospitalization in our area in the Fox Valley. So that's also good news, which is helpful because sometimes you wonder if cases are going down, maybe people will stop getting tested. But I think with the fact that cases are going down and hospitalizations are going down, that kind of gives us a little bit of reason to think, okay, I think we're seeing a lesser degree of transmission.
Any other questions? I have one, Jen. My grandson went back to the university at Grand Forks in the middle of August. He worked for me all summer, and he wasn't there for 2 weeks, and he got tested positive for COVID. Wasn't hardly sick much, couldn't taste or anything like that. But so where does that case get assigned to, Waupaca or North Dakota?
That's got to go to North Dakota. So
Okay.
if they're a university student and that's where they're staying and going to school, it'll get recorded. Same with any of our students that maybe are from here but are going to say Madison, it'll be Dane County because that's where they're residing.
And another question I have is, Mr. Ritchie, go ahead.
Because this is kind of in the early stage, has there been any reports of any long-term effects from this or anything that could be an effect coming up in the future for the individual that had this disease?
Yeah, I think there's been, stories of folks that haven't recovered, fast or rapidly or made it all the way through it, for months that they continue to experience symptoms. And I think there's been some, some cardiac, long-term effects as well. So I think we're still learning about some of the long-term effects, but there's some evidence that there can be some long-term effects.
Good. The vaccine is really under question by a number of people. I've been reading a lot of Mayo. I think it's a wonderful website. What Mayo says, is there any other websites we should be looking at besides the pro and con on Facebook?
Yeah, definitely. I would avoid using, social media for getting information. I think Mail is a good one. Any of your reputable, I think, healthcare systems or universities, obviously CDC, FDA, Department of Health. Those are the places you want to go find information over there.
And to add on to that, Joe, Andy Carlin mentioning at one of our meetings recently that John Hopkins is also very valuable.
Yes.
Don't go checking social media. John Hopkins and Mayo.
John Hopkins has a lot of information. They have a similar dashboard and they have all kinds of information. So that's also a good thing. And so the Pfizer was approved this last week, and that's the one that's being distributed. In Wisconsin, we're getting 30,000 for this first week. Every week we anticipate getting more. Moderna potentially could be approved this week. So we may have, as far as next week, we may have multiple vaccines that are available. Hopefully we keep getting more supply and we can give people vaccines. That's how we're going to completely end this, if we can get enough people vaccinated.
Mr. Terry Murphy?
Yeah, what are the chances if somebody has had it, they've been cleared, okay, that they can get it again?
It's possible. Right now it's still kind of considered rare, but it's happened. I think actually right now we have one under investigation as a reinfection, but it can happen. Again, we're still learning a little bit about that, but yeah.
I have a supervisor friend in Winnebago County whose granddaughter had it this spring or May, and then when she went back to school, college, she was tested positive again in September.
So right now, I'll just add that right now, you consider if you have like 90 days of some level of immunity, and that's as far as we know right now. It could be more, it could be less, but that's what the CDC has decided. And so it's not necessarily recommended to get tested within 90 days unless you completely recover, and then maybe 2 months later you develop symptoms again. You want to consult with your healthcare provider, but potentially be tested again. So right now, consider having 90 days of immunity if you've been infected.
This, I checked the Moscow Times frequently, and they're I forgot what it's a Sputnik 5 is their vaccine, and they're asking the people getting their vaccine not to have any alcohol 7 days before or 30 after.
I haven't heard that, and I haven't heard the directions quite on it with our vaccine.
And then it showed empty liquor stores in Moscow. There you go, social media. Any other questions? Hey, thanks a lot, Jed. Are you eating them? You lost a lot of weight. You can get some.
No, I'm doing good.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for your good work. Okay, we're going to have a county clerk update. Ms. Motorwagon.
We'll see if I can work this from both places. So good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm going to give you a little update on the county clerk's office. We're kind of going to cover the last 4 years of when I was in office, as well as some details for 2020 and 2021. So first off, this is my team, and they're going to hate me because I did not show them that I was showing them a picture of them. But this is right before the pandemic. We had a bird day before the mask mandate, and so we were in our brewer garb. I started my term in January of 17. I previously was at the highway department since 2011. I was just reelected this last November, so I'll start my new term this next January. Dawn, who is the lady on the right, which all of you know, previously was employed as the clerk treasurer for the Village of Fremont before she started with us as our deputy clerk in 2018. She replaced Sandy Arndt, who had been in the office for many, many years, who had retired. And then she was promoted to the chief deputy clerk in January of 2020 when longtime employees departed out of the department, retired. So I didn't make it a full term without losing my entire staff. Christy is the one on the left, Christy Alperman. She was previously employed as a part-time person up in the clerk of court's office before she came to us. She started in January of 2020, and she is the deputy clerk. She replaced Dawn in that position. So over the last 4 years, what has changed? One of the things that Dawn came in and really worked on when she started was our website, getting it up and making it a little bit more user-friendly. The new website design by Revive allowed us to put a lot more information online, so all of our agendas, minutes, and meeting packets are out there. It makes it more transparent for the public to be able to see any meeting materials that are out there prior to the meeting. Not all the materials that are handed out at the meeting are on there. We don't go back, but it's in advance. And then election notices and results are also listed on the website, so we're starting to keep those out there for you. And then information on marriage licenses, passports, cutting notices, etc. It's nice because the information is 24/7, so people can get to it. Additional changes, new technology. Paperless meeting packets. I know that was something that started prior to me coming on board in 17 and went into full effect in 17. I did a little research to see what that did for us here. In the county board budget between 2015 and 19, we went from a high in our photocopies from $748 per year to a low of $15.09. Now, I'm going to admit that that's not going to be the most accurate until 2020, because now with our new way to capture we have to put a code in it's a little easier to put our codes in. So I think in 2020, you're going to see that number up a little bit. But the savings for postage was significant. We used to have to get out the packets out for the county board, we have to mail them priority mail in order for you to get them in time. So that went from a high of $2,265.13 to a low of $140.45 in 19. So that was a significant change. Other things that have changed is the new voting devices and our microphone system. Now I know haven't been using that. March was our last meeting. That's not because the system isn't capable. That's because your county clerk was juggling a few things and wasn't able to practice with it. So we started the practice process. We were hoping by this meeting we'd be able to have it ready, but it wasn't. We're not quite ready. With some things that I'll be talking about later with the updates to this room, we were just going to wait until that goes into place. And then Zoom. We all love our Zoom, right? I know it can be challenging, but it's been wonderful for some members who haven't been able to be here with us, as well as like finance. Last week we had a meeting, and one of our presenters had just their household just had a brand new baby, so they were being cautious, and he was able to present remotely. So that was very nice. But it hasn't been without challenges, and I thank you all because you've all worked with us on that. Other changes that we've done is a combined election notice. All clerks, including school boards, have to put in certain notices before every election. They're all required to. And so sometimes you would open the paper and you would see the same kind of notice over and over and over. So now we've done, to save money, a combined notice. It's not a new idea. Pretty much copied it from Outagamie County, Brown County does it. But we were able to make this insert that we put into all of our 5 Waupaca County papers so that we cover everybody's notices, no matter what paper was their paper of record. It saves money for the clerks. as well as they love it because they provide me with the information and I take care of making sure that all the correct information is in their notice and is put in the insert and is make sure that it's inserted into the paper. We started something called the Gold Star Book and updated some election forms. The Gold Star Book is paying honor to Steve. Steve would give clerks a gold star if everything came back from the elections, all their paperwork, they'd get a gold star. So it became kind of a funny in our office and to the clerks, like, did I get my gold star? So we decided to create a book called the Gold Star Book. Christy really did a really nice job with it. It was used this last year. And it has just some real quick references to things that at the end of election night, you're tired. And you don't always remember what that form, what are they really asking me, and what do I need to put in that spot? So it has some reference points. It also is able to put new things in, like when we have a partisan primary, the counting is a little different. We have to have some different rules, and so that gets put in there just for that and taken out for the other one. So we're able to update it. Dawn has gone through and looked at the election forms, has contacted clerks and said, hey, do you understand what this means? I noticed a lot of people put this in wrong. How do we update that? And how do we make it so everyone's understanding and we can get the right information that we need? So they've done a fantastic job with that. And then Tuesday night late hours, our office on Tuesday nights started in 2017, staying open until 6 p.m. And that was for our walking customers, which are basically marriage licenses and passports. We have stopped doing that right now with the pandemic, mainly because we don't have that many customers coming in right now for that. Passports were put on hold through the passport federal government for many months. So we didn't feel comfortable even taking passports for a while because we couldn't tell them when they were going to even get their passport. You had no idea. So we stopped our passports. We've restarted that up, but right now people aren't traveling, so it's not super steady. But we'll do that again. One of the things that we did with our Tuesday night hours is we all took turns. We rotated. And if it was an hourly staff, they never got overtime. We always made sure we flexed our hours. Maybe they took off on that Friday for a couple hours or had an appointment during the week. So what are some things that are coming up? Some new technologies and equipment. The codification. Codification was approved in 2020 budget, and unfortunately with COVID, I wasn't able to get that project going. So last week at Finance, I did ask for that to be rolled into 2021, and it was approved. What that's going to do is it's going to codify our ordinances so that residents can search for things and staff much easier. For example, right now, if you're trying to figure out something about our ordinances that has to do with a fence, you're not sure where you should go for that, you'd have to open each individual ordinance and open it up, do a search for the word fence maybe, and try to find that. With the new codification system, once that's in place, you can just put the word fence in there and it'll pull up every reference in any of our ordinances by the word fence. And then it's also going to make it easier for staff when we're looking up something or trying to research something. So I think it's going to be a great process, but it will take, once we go out for RFP on it and pick a company to do it, which at this point I'm only aware of 2 that do it that we've looked into. It will take 9 months to a year to get everything completed. We're going to have some updates to these rooms. This room and LL43 across the hall will be updated with improved microphones, improved cameras. It'll just help us even when we go back to our room or our normal. This will help us, so if we continue to do the Zoom, if we're continuing to put on YouTube, which is helpful for many, they can hear us. Right now, we have challenges with people being able to hear on Zoom. And then as well as in my budget this year, I've asked for faces for the bottoms of the tables in this room, 10 of them to be updated to wheels. You would be shocked at how many times this room has to be set up during a week for different meetings. This room gets really used now because it's our biggest room. The computer's in here, the camera's in here all the time, so it's just the easiest room to use. But we all have to configure it a little differently. So we'll have 10 in 2021, and then if the budget allows, I will put it into my budget going forward to add some more for LL 43, maybe a few more for this room. 1068 in the back of the room, in the county boardroom, we'll actually look at tables like HR has, where they're on wheels, because those tables are monsters in there to try to get set up by yourself. So our joke this year is this too shall pass. It may pass like a kidney stone, but it will pass. And it has been a very, very challenging year. I kind of joke, if you would have told me when I was running for this position that I would have be asking questions of a general in the National Guard in regards to an election, I would laugh at you. We've done it. I've done it twice now. Sat through a call because the National Guard is coming to help for the election. It's just been a very different year. But I can tell you one thing, I'm blessed with a fantastic team. I'm so proud of them because not only did Dawn learning a new position with Steve's position, Christy coming in brand new into our office during this year. Not an easy task at all. And they've just jumped in and done everything they could. I've had numerous compliments from many different municipalities on how much they have helped them during this process. I'm just very proud of them and thankful for them, as well as my village, I call them, the department heads, the supervisors, even citizens that have stepped up to work the polls. It's amazing what a small community, and we really are here, a small community, everyone just jumps right in. So in 2020, we had the 4 elections, February, April, August, and November. I've said it before, I'll say it again, thank your municipal clerk. They do a lot, and they're amazing as well. The county had an election security sub-grant of $47,300 and some dollars, 50 cents. I worked really closely with Brent, or I shouldn't say I worked closely, Brent really did the work of this. The grant was for federal election security. So any federal election, so the November, August, April, all had federal offices. So we did a network and security assessment with that money, and some items related to that assessment. Cybersecurity training, and the Albert intrusion detection. So all things that, of course, Brent was involved in because that's not my side of things. He knows that. We also had Wisconsin Election Commission allowed each county to submit for a CARES sub-grant of $10,000. My submission included wages for 11 county employees that worked the polls in November. The finance department approved the pay of county workers, and then they could volunteer their time at the polls when there was a need. And I can tell you, I had one person that I was able to call the day before the November election, and she stepped in to help at the polls. 4 of those staff members came from Department of Health and Human Services, 3 from Planning and Zoning, and 1 each from the Sheriff's Office, Child Support, the Register of Deeds, and Veterans. But because I had heard some noises from other counties that some may not be able to use their $10,000, I oversubmitted. Now, we did get our check already for that $10,000, but if there's additional funds, I wanted to be on the books with some other items right away. So not only the $10,000 consisted of those workers' hours we could get reimbursed for, we had additional ballots. There were so many ballots for absentee this year. We didn't have the touch screen voting wasn't in use as much because there was so much absentee. So all those ballots on an election like this is all on us as a county. So, and then we got some canvas security bags. But back in April, we looked at our hours in our office alone. for extra hours for elections that we would normally have not have done. We had about 471 hours of extra work. So we did submit for that as well, and we'll see if anything becomes available, it'll be out there. And then of course, coordinating meetings. That has been a big change because of the fact that we all are trying to use this room. Maintenance, IT, I really appreciate all of that. So what's coming up in 2021? We have 2 elections this year, February and April. February is a primary if we have it. It's looking like we will for state superintendent of public instruction, but also all of our towns, villages, cities, and school boards will have things on the ballot. Redistricting is coming up. That's every 10 years after the census. It's a first for me. I've never done it, obviously, but from what my research, I'll be working closely with the municipalities and our GIS department. The codification project that I mentioned. And then election machines. We don't get them here, but 23 municipalities will be getting 25 new election machines. And so we help coordinate the delivery and training for that. I was just notified this last week that they will not be in time for the 2021 election season. For those of you that might have had some R2R funding for that, there's no worries. They've checked that out with the Department of Administration. One of the things being affected by COVID is plastics, and the plastics that are used to make the machines. They got a shipment in, I guess, and it wasn't working. So that has been a little postponed. So that's kind of everything in a nutshell. Kind of not as fun as Jed. I mean, he had better news, but that's it. So.
Any questions for Jill? Yeah, Supervisor.
Keep up the little things. We had Tom and Mattson had their monthly board meeting last night, and before we ended, the clerk and assistant clerk had a jump up and down saying we got a gold star.
See, I told you. But then I have new clerks that are like, what's the gold star? And what's that book called again? They don't have any idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. And I know what they're saying over and over too. Well, one time I used to do this every month, so I spared you for many months, maybe a couple months, so I'll be double long. Really, I just do want to say that yesterday was a very special day. We have a very special person, have a very special birthday here yesterday. Amanda Welch, I think it was her 40th birthday.
Oh,
No, we don't know. Well, happy birthday.
happy birthday.
I'm sure you're glad I mentioned it.
Geez.
You know, I just have to say what Jill went through here. I think we'd like to do this a little more often. I mentioned that to Jill last month, that there's 27 supervisors here. And even though that I'm on a number of committees, I don't know what's happening on many departments. So for all 27 of us, I'd like to have a department here and there get up and give an update, just like Jill did, which was excellent. Now let us know what's happening at the department, what's going on, the challenges of before, and what we've got in front of us. That was just excellent, Jill. That's what I expect some department heads to do. Don't have to do this every month, but 15, 20 minutes would be great. So we all have an idea what's going on in the courthouse here. So, and really, as I go to other meetings, as some of you go to other meetings, East Central or wherever, County Mutual, I hear other counties complaining about this COVID stuff and what just a real negative attitude. I didn't really find that here in Waupaca. I don't think I found it at all. Grumping about streaming and not going to meetings, not able to have meetings because they don't have a room like this for one thing. Shawnee County is one of them. We're so fortunate. And we're so fortunate to have you, Jill, because we just kept right on going in this large room. You set it up, you're cleansing the tables. And we really have to thank you, Jill. What a tremendous job you did. You had a tough year with elections and everything else. You really kept it pretty positive. And you know how it is with we humans, it's easy to get negative in negative times. But if we keep our mind positive, whether we get cancer or whatever, we're a lot better off. Come with a smile and a positive attitude, because it's our choice when we get up. Is this day going to be a grumpy day or is it going to be a good day? Let's try to make it a good day every day. So, and that's the attitude I see here by our supervisors, our staff. I mentioned that before, and Jill's extra work. In fact, I got a photo someplace. I forgot to bring it along. Where have you seen a county clerk crawling underneath tables, on her hands and knees, trying to plug in some electronics? I have. Jill didn't want me to ever show it, but I'm going to. I mean, she's on her hands and knees making this possible. That's fantastic. So as I said before too, John Hopkins and the Mayo Clinic are the place to check this stuff out, as Andy Carlin said yesterday. In fact, I have to say that one of your staff's son is in my grandson's flight school in North Dakota. So we talk often about North Dakota. I really have to say again that tomorrow morning I have a very special guest on my radio program. Very special Sheriff Tim Wills, Waupaca County. So tune in if you want. He's going to have a lot of delightful news and lay a law down, maybe. So other than that, I just, I don't have anything else. I just did want to say and thank all of you supervisors and department heads like Jill and Mandy and all the department heads we work with for their great attitude, positive attitude, and move ahead in times of challenges as we have. And with that attitude, we can't fail. I do have to, one apology I have to make. As I asked my wife, when are the Christmas cards going out? I'm not sending any Christmas cards. I gotta talk to her about attitude. You think? I said, Jill.
It's on YouTube, Dick. Watch it.
You don't have to, she's watching it. So anyhow, I want to thank you and wish all of you a Merry Christmas. It's been really a delightful year and a time of challenge, but we learned a lot, we did a lot, we worked as a team a lot, and we held it all together. Onward we go. Thank you.
Our only report this month is the WCEDC monthly report that was in your packet.
So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Christmas to adjourn and a second by Supervisor Blair. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.